All right, everyone, welcome back to the second episode of the Controller Collective podcast. We made it, guys.
Yeah, we
We
did.
did
Uh,
it.
there's a, there's a statistic out there that most podcasts don't make it past episode one, so we're not a statistic.
Hell yeah.
Yay.
Heck yeah.
All right, this week, last episode we thought is a little too analytical, maybe a little too heavy into one topic, so we just kind of want to talk about ourselves a little bit and what games we played as kids. Growing up, we were all
hmm
gamers pretty much. So, kind of wanted to dive into that. Anybody want to start, or else I can start.
Go for it.
Yeah, I say you go
All
for
right,
it.
I'll go for it. So, I played a lot. I don't even know where to start, but my first, I think my first console I had was a Wii, which I believe is a lot of people's first console, especially that are our age.
Yeah.
Born in good old 2005.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think one of the first games I've played on the Wii that I remember playing is like Mario Galaxy, which still to this day is one of my favorite games of all time.
Hmm.
That was a
It's a
pretty
good
good
one.
game.
Yeah.
Have you played it?
I have more experience with the second one. However, I did play Mario Galaxy 1. So it's an interesting story because we also had a Wii at my house. We only had the second one, but one of our aunts had the original one. So every so often when we were at our grandparents' house, she would bring the first Mario Galaxy. And so that was the only time I could play that game. I don't know if I've ever finished it, but I know I've beaten Mario Galaxy 2. I don't know if I've ever beaten the first one.
Yeah, I had both Mario Galaxies, and as a kid, I could never beat the game. I think I got like all the way to the final level, and I had to have my dad beat it for me because I couldn't do it. And like
No.
looking back on it, it's not even like a difficult level. It's like pretty easy. But obviously, when you're a kid, things are way
Mhm.
harder than.
Yeah, I'm guessing I was probably older than you when um, we tried beating those games. Because what age would you say you were, give or take?
Oh, I don't know. Like less than 10 probably.
Yeah, see, I don't think
Hmm.
I played those until I was like around 10, maybe a little bit older. Um, Something like that.
So yeah, that's kind of where a lot of my early gaming memories start is on the Wii. Like Wii Sports, Wii Fit, those kind of games.
Yeah.
Ironically though, never Wii Sports Resort. I had no idea Wii Motion Plus was even a thing until I was like a teenager.
Same. I I remember
I
we
I was the same way actually. Yeah.
I remember we rented the game from the library once, and we were so confused why we couldn't play it because it said Wii Motion Plus, and we didn't know what that was. We were just trying to play the Wii Sports sequel, but we couldn't figure out
Yes, I,
how.
I remember renting I remember renting Skyward Sword for the Wii, which also requires Wii Motion Plus. I was like, "Oh, cool, a Zelda game on the Wii," and I couldn't get past the start screen.
Oh. No wonder you hate that game.
I hate that game for different reasons, but I won't go into that now.
Sure.
All right, so Talon and I have kind of previewed ours, but Peyton, where do you stand?
So like the first console I had was a Wii, but the first like gaming machine I got my hands on was actually a Game Boy SP. And the first ever game I ever played was the Mario Kart on SP, which I know the name of,
Super
but it's
Circuit?
yeah, Super Circuit, baby. That was my childhood game right there, and I was really young. Um, and there was no looking back after I got my hands on that Game Boy.
That reminds me that Mario Kart Wii was another one of those Wii games that I played all the time.
Oh yeah, I played that at church.
Yeah, I mean, I still love Mario Kart Wii, but none of my friends love it anymore.
I was
Yep.
honestly never too fond of that game. Like, I played it a bit just because our family would play it, 4-player racing, but I don't know, that whole genre just never really appealed to me. I don't know if I have a bad taste from Mario Kart 64, but I'll get into that later on.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart Wii is definitely more chaotic than something like Mario Kart 8, where
Hmm.
things can be a bit more tame. Mario Kart Wii, you can have like 5 blue shells per race. I mean, I know I've tried to play it again with my cousin, actually, who you guys know, and
Yeah.
he does not like the game.
He's been playing it again recently.
I think he told me that, yeah,
Yeah.
which is shocking. He also told me because I gave him Mario Galaxy so he could unlock Rosalina in Mario Kart Wii. Because there's two ways to unlock Rosalina. It's either you go through a bunch of time trials or you have save data from Mario Galaxy.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah, in terms of other games, there's a big one that like I don't know if I want to get into right off the bat because like we're still right in the start, but I guess I
Yeah.
could. And I don't know if I don't know if you guys have ever like mentioned these games because I've never heard you mention them, so I don't know what your history is with them. But I, as a kid, played every single Skylanders game as a kid.
Oh, the Skylander games. Yeah. I never owned a single Skylanders game, but I have very distinct memories of going over to friends' houses and playing Skylanders and having just like fun. It's just like one of those games that you like put in and it was stupid fun with your friend as a kid.
It's definitely made for kids. Like I don't know how much fun I would have going back to it now.
Yeah.
I still don't know what Skylanders is. I never like looked into it or played it or anything.
So you know what amiibo are, right?
Yeah,
Like that toys to life thing. That was a big craze that like amiibo spawned from Skylanders. They started the whole toys to life that you put a
interesting.
figure on a portal and it comes to life in the game, which is like a scummy business tactic for you to buy more characters.
What?
Yep.
I wouldn't
And
call it
now they're all
scummy.
land waste.
Yeah, and now they're all like either super expensive or dirt cheap.
Hmm.
I still have my collection though, sitting at home in a tub, I think in my mom's office.
Do you have any Skylanders that are worth money?
I think I probably do. I haven't like looked into what the prices are these days, but I don't know if I could sell them. Like it's the same thing with like I don't collect amiibo to sell them later. I collect
It's
them because
called
I like them.
that's called scalping.
It's not called scout. What are you talking about?
That's just called
um,
flipping.
flipping.
So yeah, I what this is like so off topic. So yeah, I had every Skylanders game, and mind you, these there was like a new game every year. So like every Christmas would be like, oh boy, I can't wait to open my present. I hope it's Skylanders.
Wow.
Yep.
I was never that into Skylanders. Is like I didn't know you were into that into Skylanders.
have you guys like never seen my collection?
No, I
No.
don't think so. Like, were you not into Skylanders by like sixth grade once you were like a big part of a friend group?
I don't know like when the last Skylanders game came out. I know Imaginators, which was the last game. I had it on the Wii U, but I don't remember when I got it. I think it came out in 2017 because it had a Switch version. So like 2016, I think it
That's
came
so
out.
weird. A Switch version.
October
So yeah, I
2016.
was still into yeah, I was still into Skylanders when I knew you guys in middle school.
I guess you just never brought it up. You probably thought it was embarrassing. I don't know.
I mean, it is like at that point, uh, it's not like a huge thing anymore because I mean, Skylanders spawned so much competition. Disney Infinity, which the cousin I mentioned earlier, he had all the Disney Infinity stuff while I had the Skylanders stuff. And then there was also Lego Dimensions, which was like a Lego take on that.
Yeah.
And obviously Amiibo, which I still collect to this day. So it should be pretty obvious where that came from.
Yeah. It's crazy. I guess you were really into the Toys to Life stuff, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I can't even think about like how much money all that costed at the time.
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I didn't buy it for myself, but like my parents buying Skylanders for me every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my childhood gaming. Like obviously every year from when actually I didn't have the first Skylanders game, but ever since Skylanders Giants all the way to 2016 with Imaginators, I was into Skylanders the whole way.
Wow. And we didn't even know it.
It did, this is a new fact about me that is coming out on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. So yeah, that's enough about me for now. Anyone else want to take over?
I guess
Um,
I can take over because I haven't really spoken yet. Um, so I first, actually, I don't know which I played on first. It was either my dad's extremely old PC. We had a couple DVDs that we could play games on from there. It was either that, or I think it's more likely that it was our Nintendo 64. We've had it, I think, probably since I was born, but that's where I think I played most of my first games. One that I vividly remember was Banjo Kazooie. I remember I would come home from school in elementary school for like just multiple days in a row, and I would just watch my dad keep trying to beat Grunty over and over and over. And I think one day he did eventually beat her, but it took a very long time. And yeah, I that's probably the first game that left an impact on me.
See, I really haven't played. Well, I've played Banjo Kazooie a little bit when it came out on the Switch Online service, but I really don't know that much about it. I know a lot of people wanted him in Smash Bros, and I know like it's a collectathon, but other than that, like, what do you even do?
So basically, there's a bunch of different worlds, and okay, let me start with the overarching plot. This evil
Oh
witch.
God, I don't need a full
I
summary
will do
of
a
Banjo
very
Kazooie.
brief summary, I promise. So, this evil witch named Gruntilda was speaking to the mirror or a cauldron or something and was like, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all?" And it said Banjo's sister, oh, what was her name? I don't remember anymore, but yeah, it said Banjo's sister was the prettiest of them all. So Grunty took Banjo's sister into a giant tower And so Banjo went on a quest with Kazooie to save his sister. And to do that, they just go to a bunch of different worlds to inside of this crazy lair that's just on top of Spiral Mountain. And they collect jiggies, which are jigsaw puzzle pieces, to build other worlds, which they can then go into, and eventually they reach Gruntilda and fight her on top of the castle. That's the very brief summary of the game.
Yeah, so you played this game all, or you just watched your dad play it?
I personally have not beaten it because I never ended up taking the time to, although I did play it again more recently within the past year, and I got to like the 5th or 6th world before I just ran out of interest. But I would mostly just watch my dad play. And I mean, we also had Banjo-Tooie, which came out a bit later. And I think I have more time invested into that game, but both of the games, I would just watch my parents play them. Because I know it was like probably 5 years ago now, my mom was trying to beat Banjo-Kazooie while my dad was trying to beat Banjo-Tooie at the same time. And so that was happening both at the same time. I would just watch them whenever they were playing because I thought it was a nice hit of nostalgia.
See, I don't mean this in like a bad way or anything, but it always surprises me like that your parents are like gamers. They do play video games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Consistently.
Definitely more so my mom than my dad, although they both have crippling addictions to Candy Crush. I will be the first to say that. They are both past level 10,000, so I do not mean that lightly. Actually, I think every single person in my family is, except for me and my brother. Like, everyone that I know I'm related to is at least past level 10,000. I know I have a couple relatives that are, I believe, around 25,000. Just insane levels to be at in those kinds of games. But yeah, like, my parents both enjoy games. Again, more so my mom than my dad, although my dad does occasionally play games on our Switch. I know he played Animal Crossing on my mom's profile for a while. That was actually probably last summer already, but it was actually quite cute. He would just run around the world fishing and diving to collect fish to sell so that he could get for whenever my mom started playing again, he would just leave money bags around the entire island. There's gotta be like a quarter of it just filled with maxed out money bags that he just leaves everywhere because he couldn't store any more in the bank. And so he just did that a lot.
Wait, maxed out the bag?
Yes, by quite a bit. Because he never bought anything.
Dedication to Animal Crossing.
He never purchased anything. He just collected.
It's insane behavior in Animal Crossing.
I mean, like, if you're into Animal Crossing, more power to you, honestly. It's not my kind of game.
Mm.
And I think part of that is because, like, I never grew up with, like, an Animal Crossing or anything like that. I was, like, always into action games and puzzle games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of puzzle games,
keep going.
Pokemon Puzzle League. That was another staple of my childhood.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot more to add about that game, but that existed.
I mean, we still play it, like,
yeah, occasionally.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
Like, a couple of times we've been over. Played Pokemon Puzzle League, and I get smoked every time.
It is still such a fun game. Yeah, there's also another puzzle game. I didn't play it a ton, but I remember we had it, and it would always like perplex me. Just the concept of the game. It was called Wetrix. Basically, you just
Still
drop,
such a confusing game to have. So
but like,
random.
you just drop tiles, and every single time you drop a tile, it increases the height of the land where the tile is dropped. And you need to make it so that, because sometimes it also drops water blocks, and you have to make it so that no water spills off the edges. And there's also some blocks that cause indents, which can end up going through the surface. It's a very interesting concept, and I'm surprised there's not like some sort of spin-off that has been popular at all, because it's actually quite a good concept for a game.
I mean, I don't think a lot of Tetris spin-offs have really like taken off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause like, yeah, Tetris 2, Tetris 3D, stuff like that. You don't see any of that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Pokemon Puzzle League is based off of Panel de Pon, which is localized in the U.S. as Tetris Attack, so it's like a weird story with that game. Anyways, just a random thing.
I could
Mm.
keep listing N64 games that I played as a kid if we have time, but if we don't,
Do you have more?
we have a
I feel like
significant
this is all the
collection,
games.
actually.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
not
because
like
you
the
you have
biggest.
GoldenEye as well, don't you?
Yes, GoldenEye was the first shooter that I ever played, and it was probably the only shooter I played until I was around like 15 years old. um, but yeah, it was even a little too intense for me as a little 12-year-old boy, but I would still play it every so often. Um, yeah, I don't have a ton more to say about that. The multiplayer is so fun, and I know that the single player story mode
It's
is
not.
one of
We
the.
tried the multiplayer. I did not like it.
So, I know that the single player is supposed to be the main draw to that game, but I didn't enjoy the single player. I enjoy the multiplayer so much. It is the most fun thing for me on the N64. Just incredible. Uh,
All right. Well,
yeah.
whenever whenever you're back, you'll have to try and get me hooked on the multiplayer
Yes.
because I played it once, I think,
You
and I did not
probably
enjoy
just
it.
have to play it on an N64 because it's a little weirder with the port to the Nintendo Switch. Because there's something so just ancient about the way you have to control it. Because there's only one joystick on an N64 controller. So you end up having to use the D pad to control your aim, and the stick is only your movement. And it's very interesting the way that it's done with the limitation of one control stick. But yeah, a couple other games. I will literally just list these off rapid fire because I could go on and on. MLB Strike Zone, I played that an incredibly large amount. Madden NFL, probably also up there with one of my most played, which is interesting because I'm not the biggest football fan, but still extremely fun. Um, Gex 64. I never played it a ton,
Hell yeah!
but
Yes.
it was a little too fast paced for me. Oh yeah, Mario Kart 64 that exists. Yeah, I think a YouTube video I made in 6th grade ruined that game for me. I will not elaborate
I
further.
wasn't sure if you were gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I will not elaborate further on that topic. what's it called? Quest 64. That was the first kind of like more open world, I guess, game that I played. That, of course, with the exception of Super Mario 64, of course, we had that. But I mean, it's the same with me and Mario games now. It just doesn't appeal to me. I was never a huge fan of that game. I'll just list a couple more.
Okay.
South Park Rally, another racing game, except that one sucked because I would always get lost on the track. Yoshi Story, we had that. I played it every so often, hated it, never tried a Yoshi game since. We had Donkey Kong Country, although that our copy of it never really worked. It was weird. Like we would go to a game shop, it would work on their N64, but then we go back to our house and put it in our N64 and it didn't work. I'm
You
sure
mean
I'm
Donkey Kong 64?
Donkey Kong 64?
or yeah, that game. Same thing.
No, they aren't.
I like how Peyton and I both said it at the same time.
I don't know. I don't think there's that many other games that I. Oh yeah, okay. There was one Scooby Doo game.
Oh my, he's got so many.
I don't remember what it's called.
There was a Scooby Doo game on 64?
Yes, there was. And there was one level that scared the crap out of me. It was called Scooby Doo Classic Creep Capers. Apparently. But yeah, there was one level that freaked the heck out of me where you were in a maze with a mummy chasing you. I had nightmares about that one as a little kid. Yeah, I think we still have all of those games. But like we never had Smash 64. We never had any Zelda games. It was more so just those games that I listed. There's probably others I'm forgetting about, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of my N64 times. I think that took way longer than it should have.
No, it's good. It's good. In terms of N64, I actually did play on the N64 as a kid, but I did not own one. So a lot of my childhood stuff is going to come along with this cousin that I mentioned earlier because he lived pretty much right next door to me. And both of our dads were into gaming as kids, so we had a lot of their stuff. My dad still plays games to this day. And yeah, so his dad had an N64 that I would go over and play sometimes. And I think I would only really play Mario 64 over there. And we could never get past Bomb Battlefield, which is
How?
the first level of the game.
How?
Okay, Talon, you have to understand this. That when King Babam says, "Don't throw me off the mountain," to a kid that means, oh, obviously you gotta throw him off the mountain. So we kept trying to throw him off the mountain, which he will just jump back up and say, "Don't do that." Or when that didn't work, we would try to carry him all the way down the mountain. Which that did not work either.
Oh, I wonder why.
I believe he also had Pokemon Stadium for the N64, which was not my introduction to Pokemon. I'll get into that eventually. But I don't think we ever really played that. And yeah, that's it for me in N64. I had a very limited experience with it until the Switch Online app came out. That's when I mainly played N64 games.
So I actually did have an N64 growing up for like a year or two or maybe longer. I don't remember how long we had an N64. But my number one memories with the N64 is playing Harvest Moon 64 and like not knowing anything about how the game worked at all and just like having a lot of fun with it. Um because as a kid kind of in games you kind of make your own fun. Um
Yeah.
yeah, and it was good fun. I remember playing Ocarina pardon me, Ocarina of Time 64, um, and getting stuck on a lot of puzzles and not getting that far because I was like, this was like first, second, and maybe third grade, so not the brightest bulb yet, still pretty young, um, and I also remember I traded somebody a pack of like Skittles, like a small pack of Skittles or M&Ms for an entire cartridge of Mario 64. For some reason, they let me do that trade in elementary school, and
Did
I
you ever
I
give it
I
back to them?
huh?
Did you ever give it back to them?
No, that was like our trade deal. Like they're like, you
That was
can
like a
just have
finalized
this.
deal
Yes,
for a pack
yes.
of M&Ms.
We had like a whole day in elementary. You guys weren't in our elementary, so you guys weren't there for this, I think. But we just had a whole day where everybody set up stalls or whatever and brought stuff from home, and we bartered with each other to get stuff. I don't know, remember why the teachers had us do this for one day, but we did this, and I was the fucking queen of the deal apparently, because the I was making deals left and right, and the best one I made was M&Ms for Mario Kart 64. But yeah, I ride that high to this day. And then my brother took the N64 because it was technically his, and sold it in all the games. So I never saw it again. But yeah. We also had an SNES for a brief period of time as well, and I got to play the original Super Mario RPG. I didn't get that far, but that's like my one of my number one memories with the SNES was trying to play Super Mario RPG and thinking it was really fun and quirky. That was also around like first, second grade as well.
Isn't that
Um,
like a pretty rare game these days?
oh yeah, uh, pretty expensive too. I don't know how my mom got her hands on like a lot of the games that she got um, us for those old games, but she did.
Yeah, I
Problem
mean,
is,
okay, so go ahead.
uh, I was just saying the problem is that like all those consoles were my brother's, so instead of like keeping and preserving a lot of that stuff, he just got bored of it and then sold it and moved on to other stuff.
Yeah. So I actually have kind of a similar story to your Mario 64 story. Um, so my other main console as a kid was a DS, and I'm pretty sure neither of you had a DS as a kid, but
I did.
um, oh, you did.
I did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew Talon didn't, but I wasn't sure if Peyton you had a DS or not.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, because you had a DS Lite and you had Pokemon Diamond or something.
Yeah, I also had um the second gen remake.
Oh yeah, Soul Silver.
Hmm.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that because I was like, "Oh, can I borrow your copy of Soul Silver?" And you said no.
I thought I did let you borrow it.
I don't remember. But
Uh,
anyways, I had a DS, but I didn't have many games for my DS. I had like Deal or No Deal for the DS, and Lego Lord of the Rings were like the main games that I had. I don't know why I had these games. I don't know how I got these games. I remember having them and I still have them. So the main way I would get games for my DS is borrowing them from other people, and I use the word borrowing in heavy quotation marks because I still have most of the games that I've borrowed.
Holy crap.
So I have Mario Kart DS from one of my older cousins who's like he lives in Canada now. But yeah, he lent me Mario Kart DS. I'm pretty sure he did like give it to me because like I asked him about it later. I was like, "Hey, do you want this game back?" He said, "No, you can keep it." So but Pokemon White 2, and if you're familiar with Pokemon White 2 or any of the Gen 5 games, you'll know that they are extremely expensive these days. So
I didn't know.
I borrowed Pokemon White 2 from someone I went to school with before I came to the school that we all went to together. I borrowed it from him, uh, and he moved away before I ever gave it back to him. So I still have his copy of Pokemon White 2 to this day, and it is my favorite Pokemon game.
That's
So yeah, my
awesome.
method of obtaining games as a kid is not the most morally correct, but I mean, when you're a
Yeah.
kid, you don't really.
Well, you
You
guys know
just
the
kind of.
story how I got my hands on um Thousand Year Door, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door for the GameCube, right?
Yeah,
I
I
do
know this
not.
story. I don't know if you've ever told Talon.
Oh, so in third grade, I went over to a friend's house, and when I was
A
over
mutual
there,
friend of the three of us.
yes, when I was over there, I don't think it was him. It was either him or his brother playing it. Because they have a GameCube. Um, they were playing Thousand Year Door, and I thought it looked like the coolest game ever. I really liked the humor and stuff like that, so I was playing it. I had started a new file or whatever, and was playing it. And then I asked this friend, I was like, hey, can I borrow this game, um, or whatever? Or actually, I think I was talking about how cool it was, and then he was like, you know, you can borrow it if you want. And I was like, really? And so I borrowed it. Um, uh, so I brought it home with me the next day because I think it was a sleepover, or that happened the morning of I went home. I don't remember. Um, and then I started playing it, and the I didn't know that the expectation from this friend was that the next day I would give it back to him. Or at least because I think the next day was school, or at least basically the next day that I saw him, he was expecting to get it back. But I didn't know that. I thought it was just kind of like a borrow it and give it back when he asks for it, or give it back when I'm done. And so because this friend was extremely shy when he was younger. He did not ask for me it back, um, even though even though he wanted it back. He didn't want to ask because he just thought I would bring it back the next day I saw him at school. And so I kept this game for years because he never asked for it back, and then it mysteriously disappeared one day. Um, and I still don't know what happened to it. And I never found it. And then we sold the house that I was living in at the time. My parents did. So when I graduated. So if that game is still there, it probably isn't because we tore everything apart. Um, so yeah, I still feel bad about that to this day because
Yeah,
Thousand
because
Year
that's
Door.
also like a really expensive game.
Yeah, it's really rare and worth a lot of money.
A lot of GameCube games are because the GameCube did not sell well.
Yep. For the record, I think my brother probably stole it and sold it, but I have no evidence of that. It was in a gut feeling and knowing how my brother is.
Yeah, Taylor, I'm guessing you didn't do anything quite as devious as us.
No, I didn't. I I mean, I just kind of played whatever games we had, and usually it wasn't any mainstream form of games, because, I mean, my parents didn't care how popular a game was when they were buying it. It would just be like, oh, this looks like a good game that everyone in the family could enjoy. Let's get this game. So even when we got a Wii when I was like 8 or 9, like, we don't have many games that would be recognizable to the large majority of people. And we have like over 50 games, probably, give or take. And there's probably like 5 to 10 games that most people would recognize the name of or anything like that.
I mean, that's kind of par for the course on the Wii because the Wii had a lot of, what
Hmm.
we call shovelware, which is just get out a product quickly because it appeals to families. So, I mean, I think everyone who had a Wii had shovelware.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you like never borrowed a game from anyone or anything like that?
no, not once.
Huh,
Not
dang.
until our local library started renting out games. Then we did that a decent amount of times, but you just check it out like a book for a week or two, and then you have to bring it
Mhm.
back. We still do that with Switch games to this day, but
Dang.
yeah, I mean it's pretty like useful for older ish games like from around 2020. Like one library in the system is bound to have a game, but we have so many games that are just listed on our Switch that we don't have any access to because we would just check it out from the library.
Hmm.
Yeah, I also did something similar. I mean, to your point, about like not paying attention to what's popular, I don't think I actually like started paying attention to new releases of games until the Switch came out. Like, I would just go like with my mom to Walmart and be like, "Oh, that game looks really cool. I want to play it." And that's kind of how I found games until the Switch. Obviously, Skylanders excluded. I would follow the news on that all the time.
Yeah. For me, it was about
Uh,
the Wii U time that I actually like was able to connect to the internet and like know when things were kind of coming out. And that was like, as cringe as this might sound, a lot of it was thanks to the Miiverse and having YouTube on my Wii U because I didn't have my own phone or laptop or anything like that. So before that, like I just kind of found games and was like, "Oh my gosh," and stuff like that. Or maybe I just happened to watch a YouTube video about a certain game. But oftentimes back then, I wouldn't like know to search that game out. So I would just like search up YouTube videos of games I knew existed, I guess.
yeah, I also did rent games as a kid.
Me as
That's how
well.
I played most of my Wii U games. Uh, Before I had a Wii U, I mean, back like when I was really young, my dad worked at Blockbuster. I don't specifically have any memories of renting games from there, but I do have memories of renting games from its spiritual successor, which was called Family Video.
Oh yeah.
So that's where I got a lot of my Wii U games from. That's how I played like Mario 3D World or Mario Maker or Mario Kart 8, all that kind of mainstream Wii U games and 3DS games as well.
Hmm. I actually remember renting games from Blockbuster when I lived in California. Long time ago. I have a very distinct memory of renting, I believe it was Mario Galaxy, um, from a Blockbuster and playing it for the first time. And I was like, "Be Mario!"
B Mario.
Yeah, man, I was so young. I was like in kindergarten when that happened, if not younger. And then I also remember um, when New Leaf came out, there were a lot of New Leaf ads. I don't know if you guys remember them for Animal Crossing, but that was kind of like as kids, like the way we knew about new games was just kind of like if there were video game ads on the television or whatever. And so I
Oh
remember
yeah,
going to
like
fam
the bad Wii U game ads from.
hot buttered popcorn, that's a deal.
All
Uh,
right.
um, but I remember during like the height of seeing these like three leaf ads or new leaf, not three leaf ads, and like my sister like being into it or whatever. Um, I went to Family Video and they had City Folk, Animal Crossing City Folk, so I rented it and then I went back home and I was like bragging to my sister about getting an Animal Crossing game or whatever on the Wii, and then we fought over it, so Mom took it away from both of us.
Yeah, I mean that's a experience that you guys have that I don't really have. Is I'm an only child, whereas you two both have siblings that you grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So like that, I played a lot more. Well, maybe not a lot more single player games, but I was
I mean,
more open to single player games.
I like was more or
And
less the only person who liked to play when video games. Like not that like I never played multiplayer, but it was really fairly rare. It was only like when my brother was quite a lot younger that he was like into games. But even the games we were into, like a lot of times weren't necessarily multiplayer or like I yeah.
Talon, did you have any games that you really like necessarily played with your brother as a kid?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? My internet bricked. I didn't hear a single word.
Did you have any like specific games that you played with your brother as a kid?
Oh, there probably most of our Wii games. If I had to generalize, I mean, I could just list a few. We had Wii Sports. We had Mario Kart Wii. Bob Barker's Mini Golf. That was an incredible game. Love that one. Except when I'm losing, then screw that game. Um, MLB Power Pros is I never really played it with my brother, but damn, my dad is still addicted to that game 10 years later. Um,
Like he still plays the Wii version or he
yes,
plays the
he
Switch one?
still actively plays the Wii version. So our Wii bricked like over winter break, or maybe it was summer, one of the two, but we literally got another Wii so that he can keep playing MLB Power Pros 2008. He still plays it
That's
year round.
that's dedication.
That is his main game. And he goes through, he edits every single team's roster and he keeps them all up to date with every single MLB player. He has spreadsheets. I have seen him entering actual player stats and porting it into in-game stats so that it can be accurate. He runs his own league in the game, like just him. He plays a season as every single team, and he tries to beat every other team in the game. It's insane how much he plays. He had the currency in game fully maxed out for multiple years. It's just insane dedication. I know that's off topic from the question, but just gotta throw that out there.
I mean, I did not know that. uh, Another thing, a big game from our childhoods that we have not brought up yet is Minecraft.
Oh yeah, that game.
Yeah.
We all have differing opinions on Minecraft, so why don't we get into them? Talon, you're probably the biggest Minecraft fan.
Ooh, yes, Minecraft. Um, I do love the occasional 2 week Minecraft spurt now, but back then, Minecraft used to be my life. My goodness. Probably started around, like, I know I got the game in fourth grade, February, like mid February. Um, I know exactly when I got it. But originally, I only got the game because my parents wanted me to learn how to code by creating mods for Minecraft. Ironic part is I didn't end up ever playing with a mod until around 3 years ago, so that didn't exactly
Wait,
pan
wait,
out.
wait, 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 wait. They wanted you to make mods for Minecraft, but they didn't let you have a phone until high school?
Correct.
Okay, keep going.
Sounds pretty accurate.
We'll just gloss over that part. So yeah, I mean, fourth grade when I started playing, it was mostly like trying to learn because I had played Pocket Edition before, but I had never played on computer. That time was mostly just adjusting to the new control set, and also trying to create mods. We don't talk about those mods that I made because it was about as crappy as you would expect a fourth grader to create. But yeah, then fast forward into around mid fifth grade. Uh, ooh, how do I say this story? So,
This is when we met Talon, by the way. It was mid
yes.
fifth grade.
So,
Actually, I met Talon in fourth grade.
Okay,
yeah,
it's not a
for
competition.
one day.
Yeah, and you were weird.
I was very weird, even through middle school, and most of high school. I will never deny that. But yeah, so my parents didn't want me like playing games where I would be fighting and killing other players. So I wasn't allowed to be on any Minecraft servers except this one Minecraft server that I got special permission from them to play on. It was a creative mode server where they had built the entirety of Universal Studios in Minecraft. I just remember that weird detail. But eventually I started quote unquote sneaking onto Mineplex and I would play some of the games on there. That was like when survival games on there was starting to get really popular. Also, Micro Battles was an incredible mini game. It's sad that Mineplex is dead now, but back then those were incredible game modes, and I just got hooked on the competitive aspect of Minecraft. Fun fact, still to this day, I have never beaten Minecraft, despite the fact that I have thousands of hours in the game. I just spent it all playing PvP. Eventually, probably around 6th or 7th grade, I transitioned into playing Skywars a lot, which then transitioned into playing ranked Skywars when that came out. And eventually, I just started becoming a full-on competitive tryhard in ranked Skywars. I hit top 500 Diamond Division a handful of times, but by now they've shut down ranked Skywars. Oh yeah, that was on Hypixel as well. So yeah, I remember I had my laptop confiscated a few times when they found out I was going on different servers. Um, but yeah, and then after Sky Wars, Bed Wars got popular. I kind of slowly transitioned into that. Played ranked Bed Wars decent amount, and then I kind of went on my retirement arc. I started playing UHC, and then yeah, I kind of retired from competitive Minecraft after that, and I've my experience with the game in the past 4 years or so was mostly just playing on survival servers with friends, using mods for the first time, which is pretty hilarious because I only learned a couple of years ago now how to actually install a mod. Yeah, I think that's pretty much me and Minecraft summarized in like 3 minutes.
Me and Minecraft, a Talon story.
Yes.
So, my experience with Minecraft is very different from Talon's. I never owned, well, I shouldn't say I never owned Minecraft, but the cousin I talked about earlier had the Xbox 360 version of Minecraft. So often when I would go over to his house after we kind of, stopped playing Mario 64, he had Minecraft. So we would play in creative mode, split screen Minecraft. We barely ever played survival. We would just mess around and build whatever in creative mode. And eventually I got the game for myself on Xbox 360 because we didn't have a PC growing up. I don't think I had a laptop until my own personal laptop until like seventh grade. Uh, so yeah, I played the Xbox 360 version. I played a little bit of Pocket Edition. But when I got the game for myself, I realized I don't like to play Minecraft by myself,
Hmm.
which is crazy because then I didn't play the game again until high school when I got Java Edition, and that was to play with friends,
Hmm.
and I barely even played it then. So yeah, I'm not really a Minecraft guy. I played it growing up, but that was with my cousin. That was creative mode. And like even now I would rather play survival than creative.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
definitely a shorter story than Talons.
I have a similar story, and like everyone in our friend group in the elementary, like we liked Minecraft. Minecraft was like a cultural icon. And I watched like Minecraft YouTubers and stuff like that, and I was interested in all of that. But I think even back then, to a certain level, when I did get Minecraft and I played it by myself and stuff, I barely ever really touched it that much. I didn't really like it that much. The vast majority of my time, like playing Minecraft, was at other people's houses on the um, Xbox 360, and uh, that was just kind of the way it was, and that was fun because I was with friends and we were having that joint experience. And then I also remember getting like Minecraft on the PlayStation. But like when you boil it down, a lot of the games I like to play are you're driven by something. And in Minecraft you're not driven by anything except like your own creativity and what you want to do. And because of that, I was just held back from ever really enjoying Minecraft that much as a kid, despite how much, hours I probably put into watching Minecraft content and probably talking about it with the friend group when I was younger. That's about sums up my relationship with Minecraft.
Yeah. Okay. So for like the final bit of the episode here, should we kind of go into like we all met in middle school as we mentioned before, And that's still childhood. So should we go into like what we played in middle school whenever we would get together?
Uh, sure.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of the time in middle school, it was you guys coming over to my house because I probably had the most video game stuff out of all of us.
Yep, for
So
sure.
I remember playing Smash Brothers on the Wii U. That was a big one.
Yeah.
Um, we used to run like little tournaments just between us, and it was so unfair because I was the only one. Or no, Peyton, you had the game,
Yeah.
but I was the only one who really played it. So it was just me winning the tournament every time.
I still remember back to one of those tournaments because I had never played any Smash Bros. Game before that point. I didn't know what they were about. But I don't remember most of the tournaments, but I remember there was one tournament where I picked Game and Watch, and it was so annoying of a pick that it just got outright banned for all future tournaments. I wasn't
Oh
allowed to
yeah,
play Game
and
and Watch anymore.
it became like a meme in our friend group for like a good bit of time. It's just like Mr. Game and Watch being super rage inducing.
I don't even remember why it was rage inducing now that I know more about Smash Bros.
I don't know either. I mean, a lot of these games that we played, like Smash Bros, kind of led to like Talon and I played competitive esports in high school, and Talon still plays competitive esports in college. But like we played Smash Bros competitively. I
Hmm.
still play Smash competitively, but not for like an esports team or anything. But yeah, we also played like Rocket League. I don't know how we got into Rocket League. I don't know
I
if Talon you
I
remember, but
remember how I got into Rocket League at least. It kind of actually ties into Minecraft a little bit. There was one YouTuber that I would watch back when I was still somewhat newer to the game, around sixth grade, when I was just starting to get a little more competitive. There was this one YouTuber named Pizza Hut. Not the pizza chain, but like the name Pete and then Zahat. And normally he would just make. Oh, I forgot to even talk about Egg Wars, the predecessor
it's
to
it's too
Bed
late.
Wars.
It's too late.
I will just ignore talking about that. I completely forgot that existed. But yeah, he would mostly make content about that. I would watch him a lot back then. This was all before Sky Wars was a thing that I played. But he made a video one day about Rocket League, and I was just so awestruck. Like, the game looked so cool. I wasn't able to play it for probably at least another year, though, because we didn't own the game. But I got the game on Switch. I believe it would have been Christmas Day 2018. And we didn't even have Nintendo Switch Online. I got the Nintendo Switch version. So I never actually played an online game of it until like September of the following year when we got it so that I could play it for esports online. But yeah, that was how I got into Rocket League.
And then, did you get us into Rocket League, or did we kind of get?
I
Because
feel
I don't.
like
I
I
remember I had.
talked about it a lot and it kind of influenced you guys to start playing it. I do have a bit of an embarrassing story of the first time I ever played it. I was just playing it against my brother. Neither of us knew what the heck we were doing. I remember I beat him in our first game that we played, but then the second game we played, I lost in a 5-minute game 21-2. It
What?
I don't even know. Well, I do know how. We were playing on a field which I now know isn't a standard map. We were playing on the map Cosmic, where it's tilted off the kickoff. And so every single time, me being the stupid little boy that I was, I would hold up on the joystick thinking it would make me go faster. But in reality, all it did was every single time I went down off of the surface, my car would nose plant and just flip onto its back. And my brother would just hit it in the goal off of every kickoff. So that's how I lost my second ever game of Rocket League by 19 goals.
Gosh dang.
I'm trying to remember like what other games we would always play.
We played Tetris,
Yeah,
but
I
I
remember a
don't think
lot.
that was until later.
Yeah. Tetris, Puyo Puyo Tetris. I never even owned the full game. I just owned the demo, but we would play the demo all the time until I finally bought Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 like 4 years later.
I think, what was that website called? Like Tetris with Friends or something? I
Yeah,
think
there was a
that's,
Tetris website that we used to go on like in middle school to play Tetris against each other.
I think
And then they
that's what
shut down the
sparked the
website.
interest. Because I had never played a game of Tetris in my life before that website. But I remember I saw a friend of ours, a mutual friend, playing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're so good at that. I want to be better. And then I started grinding the heck out of it. I still didn't get like anywhere close to his level until Tetris 99 came out, at which point I started getting pretty good, but yeah, Tetris.
Tetris. Yeah, I would say probably me and that friend you just mentioned are probably the two better Tetris players.
Yeah,
That's just because we play more
I would agree.
games. Um, yeah, anything else you want to. Arms. We brought up arms in the last episode. Should
Oh
we
yeah,
talk about
arms.
arms again?
I forgot about that game. Yeah, I actually competed in a national tournament for that game. I got out in the first round, but
Really?
we do not mention that aspect. If I can remember what the heck the website was for the bracket, I can give actual information instead of just making claims.
I
See,
remember. Oh, go ahead.
I think so like for half of middle school I didn't go to the same middle school as you guys. So um I think there was kind of like that period of time where I wasn't really invited to stuff as much anymore. And I didn't know what was going on in school. So I don't have much to add on this, I suppose I'm saying.
Yeah, I remember it was a lot of the times when a new multiplayer game came out for the Switch, I would invite you guys over and we would play. Like, I remember Mario Tennis. I think we did that.
Did we play
Uh,
1-2 Switch? Did you have 1-2 Switch?
I think I rented it at one point.
I vaguely remember playing 1-2 Switch.
I
But
own
yeah,
the
one
game.
two
We might have
Switch.
played it
I
at
think we
my
played
house.
once. Yeah, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't have been there
Uh,
because I haven't been to your house until I think it was last year.
That is true.
I think we did it for. We did. I invited you guys. This was the dumbest thing ever. I invited you guys over on Halloween to play Luigi's Mansion 3 multiplayer, which has like the worst multiplayer ever.
I wasn't there for that.
Really? I feel like I don't remember who I invited over. but it was just such a dumb idea. I had a lot of dumb ideas as kids, or as a kid, because I wanted to play games with you guys since I couldn't play online because I had bad internet. So I wanted to invite you guys over as often as possible.
My internet wasn't great either.
Yeah, so like I had Splatoon as a kid, but I could never play Splatoon online on the Wii U.
I couldn't play until 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh, we've actually been going for a while. We're a little over time here. Does anyone
Oh,
have any closing thoughts?
um, well, in closing, I think it's important to state that just like a lot of other things, video games are an art form, and participating in that art form at a young age is actually a big part of what has can end up molding a kid into the human being they are in the present. I feel like that's something that's not talked about as much. It's definitely not as big of a fight going on that it used to be back in the day to have video games recognized as an art form, but by some people it's still not realized. So it's something worth saying in closing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't have met. I don't think I would have met you guys if it wasn't for video games. So,
Yeah,
they, playing games as a kid, it can be helpful.
yeah.
Getting very philosophical at the end of the episode. Talon, any closing remarks, or did his PC already die?
I think he's God.
All right. Well, no Talon to send off the episode here. So, thanks for listening. Uh, yeah, he just said laptop dead.
Guys, we're
So,
professionals.
kind of an abrupt ending, but we hope to see you back next week for
Yes,
whatever we decide to talk about.
yes, and thank you for listening.
All right, see ya.
Bye bye.